Hey, what's up everybody, it's Charles and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have another interesting episode for you guys, something that I really have to get into. So let's just go ahead and get into this topic here. So it was just literally 2 days ago where we produced a video discussing what? In that video, we were talking about how Chris Broussard called out Nick Wright on, First Things First, for basically constantly taking shots at certain NBA players. For those of you who didn't see that video, essentially what I was highlighting in that episode was this. I said that the only reason Nick Wright, goes at players like Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving is because he viewed KD as a threat to LeBron, and he didn't like the fact that Kyrie Irving left LeBron James, period, end of story. I said that was 100% it, and there was no other reason for it. I also said in that video, and I'm saying it now, the only reason, in my personal opinion, that Nick Wright has been heaping all of this praise on Giannis Antetokounmpo and calling him the best player in the world is simply because it gives him an out. By him calling Giannis Antetokounmpo the best player in the world, he basically doesn't have to say that Kevin Durant is the best player in the world. It's an easy out for him. I don't think he's saying that because he believes that. I think he's saying that because it's another way for him not to give Kevin Durant his props. And in the comment section of that video, some people were saying, oh, you're making things up. You're going at Nick. You're just, you're looking for ways to hate on LeBron, blah, 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 blah. And less than 48 hours later, what happened? Nick Wright proved me right. Because just yesterday on Twitter, there was an exchange between Nick Wright and Kevin Durant, and guess who started it? It was started by Nick Wright. So I want to quickly get into the tweet here. So the first tweet that was sent out was actually sent out by Nick Wright on Twitter. He said, "I legit feel bad for KD. He had been the second best to LeBron for a decade. And the moment he might have passed LeBron, Giannis passed him. Second player out of high school, second pick in the draft, second player in the NBA for life. Legit awful luck." So that was the first tweet. Then I think Kevin Durant saw that and he responded and he said, "Don't feel bad for the God. Life has been incredible, little Nicky," with a smile emoji. And of course, Nick Wright responded to him by saying this on Twitter, of course. He said, "Honest question before bed. If KD is a quote unquote God, what does that make Giannis?" So those were basically the exchanges between Kevin Durant and Nick Wright on Twitter. Let me tell you what I think. First of all, if y'all remember, I believe it was 2 years ago, Kevin Durant had an opportunity to choose what destination he wanted to go to as a free agent. And some people were talking about the idea of maybe Kevin Durant and LeBron James teaming up. Because on a personal level, I don't think Kevin Durant has anything against LeBron James. I think the two of them are friends, to be quite honest with you. I don't think there's anything between the two players, and I think this is more of like a media invention. I think those guys get along just fine. That's what I think. But when Kevin Durant was asked about probably the possibility of playing with LeBron, what did he say? He said that there's a toxic environment around him and he is surrounded with media fanboys. In my personal opinion, I think Kevin Durant was talking about the Nick Wrights of the world. That's who I think he was talking about. When you think of fanboys in the media, who are the biggest ones that you think of? We're talking about in the NBA. He's him, Shannon Sharp. Some could say Skip Bayless is a fanboy of Michael Jordan. But Skip Bayless did always say that he doesn't like bringing up those Jordan versus LeBron topics because he thinks it's an insult to Michael Jordan to compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan. However, I do think that Skip Bayless enjoys talking about LeBron James a whole lot. So that's a kind of weird thing there. Maybe there's a contradiction there. But to me, I think Nick Wright is the person that he's talking about. And the question it made me think of is this, and that's the question I want to ask you guys in the audience, which is this. Let me ask you guys a question. What do you think your view would have been of Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Michael Jordan, if they had a spokesperson, an unofficial spokesperson in the media, like a Nick Wright and people like him? How do you think people would view Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan if he had someone, or Kevin Durant, if he had a Nick Wright that was on TV 5 days a week, 52 times a year? How do you think people would view those players? I think a lot of people would have a different worldview, or a different view rather, on these players than they do now. The one group of people that have not been able to be brainwashed about the Kobe Bryants, the Kyrie Irvings, the Kevin Durants of the world are NBA players. NBA players see straight through the BS. That's why usually when you ask an NBA player to name your top 5 NBA players, is usually totally different from what media members would say and what usual NBA fans would say, because NBA fans' opinions usually get shaped by people in the media. Just today, I was listening to an episode, or watching an episode rather, of Club Shay Shay, and he had what's his name? He had Damian Lillard on the show, and he asked him. He said, "Who is your Mount Rushmore of NBA players? Your top 4 players?" If you put that question to the fans, the results that you would get will be diametrically opposed to the results that Damian Lillard put forward. Let me tell you the 4 players he said. He said Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, and Magic Johnson. Most people would agree with Jordan and Jordan and LeBron, but they wouldn't agree with Kobe, because Kobe, there was a concerted effort to really tarnish the legacy of Kobe Bryant, in my personal opinion. A lot of people had a lot of animosity towards the guy, and the moment he retired and he got injured, that's when they came out. Nobody was saying a mumbling word when Kobe Bryant was healthy and winning all those championships. They just waited when he got down. That's when they finally, and that's when they started to kick him when he was down. So back to this video here. Number one, as I said before, and I'm going to say it again, Nick Wright doesn't like Kevin Durant for the simple reason that he beat LeBron James in the finals, period, end of story. If you watch those NBA finals, we all know who the best player on the floor was. It was Kevin Durant. He hit the biggest shots in the biggest moments. It was him. And I think from that moment forward, he hated Kevin Durant. That's why he would just go at him for no apparent reason. Kevin Durant was there minding his business, and he went at the guy, and Kevin Durant responded to him. Some people get upset that, oh, why do you say? I have to say, if we don't defend these people, who will? And the funny part is, there's no one here accusing us as being sponsored by some particular agent. No one sponsors us. No one. We're just saying what we think, and we're trying to bring a balance to the conversation. But to me, I'm happy that Kevin Durant called him out on it. Personally, maybe some people, I mean, if you look at it from another standpoint, some people say, why would you even respond to this guy? But I think Kevin Durant just was being himself and just decided to call him out, and it is what it is. So what I want to know from you guys is, number one, are you happy that Kevin Durant called him out? And what do you think about Nick Wright constantly hating on people that he views as a threat to LeBron James? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll definitely catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.